Ben Folks, guys. You know Ben Folks? Ben is awesome. Ben doesn't back down from anything. I mean, I just got to say, I'm reading an article over here from Ben, but if you ever have a topic like, well, that's an interesting topic, but it's a little sensitive, and that's a little bit sticky, I'm not sure I'm going to cover it, send it to Ben. He'll write a piece on it, right? I mean, he did such a good job today. He wrote a piece, had to do with Tapology and had to do with a ranking system. And he talked about what's currently going on, what's been talked about going on in the future, which all the way to Mark Zuckerberg and Meta creating an AI to do this. And I would like to ask you a third option, though. Should we have them? Should we have a ranking system? We didn't always have one. I happened to be in the room when these came about, and I believe it was 2013. If I'm wrong, it was 2012. I think it was 2013. Fox is a network that had the rights to the UFC, much as you would think of for ESPN now. And I was participating, the show called UFC Tonight, Kenny Florian and I, and they came in and they explained to us, we're going to have this new ranking system. And the ranking system was very much invoked. One, because other sports had it, trying to go mainstream. But two, when you have people judging people, it's not fair, ever. So if you have talking heads like Kenny and I, a ranking system for the controversy alone is a very helpful tool. All right. Now, I want you to share my perspective and the way this was explained the day this was created. This is exactly why. And fighters instantly corrupted it. Instantly. There's nothing in sport more cowardly than a cage fighter. And it's not necessarily that cage fighting attracts cowards. The systematic approach of cage fighting will oftentimes turn a regular guy into a little bitch. But that's exactly what the rankings did. It did not encourage competition or encourage fights. You get a number 3 guy, it'd be a reason to not fight number 8. Even if 8 would be favored to beat 3. So now you got a big problem, right? The rankings is saying 8 isn't as good as 3, but the people with the hard-earned money are saying, I'll put it on 8 to take out 3. So 3 just uses that as an excuse to not fight 8, which would never be done in any other sport. LeBron James would never renegotiate who he was going to walk on the court with. He would never be told. Whatever the starting lineup is or projected to be, they could switch at the last second. LeBron doesn't throw his hands up, go be a little crybaby, thus making LeBron more courageous than a cage fighter who will never step in there with anybody until that person specifically and clearly is discussed. All right. So I will tell you, the idea of having rankings, because it's what other sports have, and the idea of having rankings to create conversation, understanding the mistakes that will be made, just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It's neither of those things came true. Fighters used it to complain. They used it as a way to avoid competition. The same reason fighters cut weight. They don't cut weight to find a harder guy. They cut weight to get away from what they deem tougher competition. It's a true sport of cowards. All right. But now that we know that, what would happen had they not come in the room on Fox Studios in 2013 and told Kenny and I that we're going to have a ranking system? Like, what would have happened? I don't know that I agree that a ranking system helped to mainstream us in the least. I get the theory, and if everybody else is doing it, I do understand where you would like that number and that data and to have a process as well, but it didn't really matter. It didn't help to break us into Sports Center. It's never been published one single time in Sports Illustrated. Jim Rome and Dan Lebatard, the two big sports guys in the world, not named Chael Sonnen, have never done a piece on it. Fighters use it to avoid competition, not to seek competition, and it's got nothing to do with matchmaking. It's supposed to, we think. An integrity and a respect shown to it would make sense, but there was just a Japanese gentleman came in and fought Pantoja. The Japanese gentleman was very good. I don't dispute him being given a number one contendership, but I'm sharing with you it was his debut. He had never fought in the UFC, and therefore he wasn't ranked. He had no ranking whatsoever and fought for the world title. But as soon as that happens, we now see, okay, rankings and opportunity have nothing to do with one another. But as soon as that precedent is set, so what are we even doing it for? Because I can only continue to come back to the way fighters cower and use it as their excuse to cower. I don't remember a time it's worked the other way. And once you find out that you don't need a ranking to fight for the world title, then what is the point of all of it, right? I mean, like, there's fighters that will sit down and they got their managers and their coaches and they put this think tank together, but they don't understand how tight and small that bubble is. And they'll come up with a plan that makes sense, and they're going to fight the number 14 guy, and that'll make them eligible for the number 11 guy and the number 8 guy, and then the world title is right around the corner. It's the only thing that makes sense. Well, where'd you get that from? Well, the Japanese fighter, and I apologize, I don't know his name. But he's very good. I knew a lot about him, and I'm only saying he didn't sit down and come up with a plan. He had the fights that he had. He made an impression with those fights, and he went and got the biggest fights that he could get, and that included a world title. And at the time in 2013, I remember this perfectly. The order gets set down, goes from Dana to Craig. Craig calls Greenberg. Greenberg brings Kenny and I into a room. So, I feel like I'm really a great one to talk to you guys about this. I was on the cutting edge. We were the first ones that were told about this. Kenny and I presented the first ever rankings. So I think that my opinion matters on this. I think history and a timeline matters in everything that you're trying to figure out. And I'm here to let you know it was done so talking heads could talk. And that's not what it's used for anymore. And that's when it was to 10. They now go to 15. That's embarrassing. College football goes to 25. I will never understand that for the life of me. Like, to be an All-American in Division I wrestling, it is so hard. It is a life's commitment to come in the top 8. And by the way, they don't rank you. You got to go fight. You are going to prove where you stand to be an All-American. In football, if you're top 25, they'll put you in Sports Illustrated. They'll give your coach a bonus. They will genuinely act as though they've done something. Well, we're ranked top 20 in the nation now. What? No, I didn't know that. How would I possibly know that? Where would I even get that info? And who ranked you? Well, that's not what's important, but it was printed. It was written down. It was printed. And we're number 18, and Mr. Athletic Director, I'd like my bonus for that. And they will write you that check. So now in MMA, we had a top 10 to create competition, have something to fight over. It got used as something to fight about, as a reason to not have to get into competition. But we've got a precedent set as recently as this year by a gentleman from Japan who stepped in and fought for a world title with absolutely no ranking. We had Khamzat Chimaev, who, by the way, is not any better today than he was the first time you saw him 4 years ago. And I know you like to make believe, well, he's grown and he's sharpened in his experience and he's ready now. He's not any better today than he was when you saw him 4 years ago. So if he's going to win the world title today, he could have won it 4 years ago. But he couldn't get that opportunity because there was no ranking. In fact, he's fought in 2 world champions that were both champions 4 years ago, and he beat them both. Like, this isn't a debate. He could have been the 70-pound champion, which is what he proved when he beat Kamaru Usman. He could have been the 85-pound champion, which is what he proved when he beat Robert Whittaker. He's not better now. You just want to make believe he is. And now he's ranked number 1. Back then, he wasn't ranked at all. So you see where there's a problem. You see where your top guys don't get a fight now. So I'm only asking a third option. I love what Ben Folks is saying. I didn't quite break into that. I got off on a diatribe here. But you have the ability to possibly do this through AI. You have an ability to possibly have a different system similar to what the BCS used to do, and that's where Tapology is willing to step in and help out. And I think that's where we're going to go. But you also have option 3, the one I'm suggesting, and it needs to be considered, which is you stop doing it. No one cares. No one knows. Just to shine my own wheels, guys, but I was the first athlete ever to be ranked in the top 10 of 2 different weight classes simultaneously. I was ranked number 2 at middleweight and number 9 at light heavyweight. And this was a huge problem. Dana had to come out and speak up. People, oh, you're always looking out for Chael. That's your boy. Look what you've done. You didn't do this for anybody else. And Dana's going, well, he fought in this division. He fought in this division. And this is where the rankings had him. They said, well, you can't be in 2 divisions at one time. Dana's saying, why not? Like, where did you hear that? So I'm only sharing. That's a big deal. What a big claim by me. First athlete ever to be ranked in the top 10 of 2 divisions simultaneously. Guys, I can't prove that. I can't ever show my kids that someday. I don't even know where the heck that came from. I don't know where it would exist now. I don't know what difference it makes if we have something called UFC. That's already, and then you gotta put a slash rankings. Okay, well then it's not real. If it's a website that we produce, it's not real. If I can't go to Sports Illustrated and get it, if I can't go to ESPN.com and get it, if I can't phone the producers and showrunners at Jim Rome and Dan Lebatard, they have no idea what I'm even talking about, then why are we doing it? Why? What good does it do? I don't know that argument will hold up, by the way. I don't know that I want it to hold up. I just want you to hear it. I want you to hear that there is a problem within the rankings. But it's not going to be solved by a computer. It's not going to be solved if the people that do the rankings finally come forward and tell us what criterion they follow. It's not going to be solved unless fighters quit looking at it as a way to get out of doing hard work. Japanese gentleman wasn't ranked at all. Fought for a world title. So right there, we understand the rankings don't really matter. And if that message gets out, if that message really gets out and gets accepted, then I can live with an unnamed ranking committee telling us what it is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. like we've done from the beginning. Or I can live with a computer program spitting it out. Because I'll at least have gotten what I want out of this, which is definitive proof that the rankings don't matter.